They can love you, they can cherish you, but that doesn't mean they're going to stand by you if they don't think something's injustice. Because at the end of the day, her friends, they didn't understand what it was like to be a Black kid in society. And they didn't know. And instead of her friends to accept that, some of them retaliated against that.
Welcome to the Point of View podcast. My name is Asada Haman.
And my name's Yosa.
And here we are today for another episode.
Yeah, we're super excited to film another movie. I think honestly, like I love filming and talking about these movies. Like this has really just become like not even like a pastime, just like something I enjoy talking about. I enjoy and I love TV shows, I love movies, I love books, I love talking about it. So being able to like kind of put it together with like real world and like, you know, share it with other people, it's really been like a great experience.
It has. And not sure when this is gonna come out, but we have been doing this for a bit now. And so it's like it's really crazy that we were filming this in August and it's like 8 months since we started this podcast, and it's like crazy. We only missed 1 week in the beginning, the second week, because I got the flu.
Yeah.
But besides that, we've been so consistent. And so thank you everyone for listening and tuning in and supporting a lot of friends and family, but a lot of new faces as well. But yeah, like, I don't know if you said, but today we were talking about the movie, The Hate You Give. I remember when did you buy the book?
I bought the book in like 7th grade.
Okay, so that was a while ago. It's been a long time since we watched and read it.
I think the movie came out in like 2018.
Yeah, no, it's been a while, and like it was really interesting to read and watch this movie. Well, watch the movie because like it's something that I think from a kid's perspective, a lot of times you don't see. It's almost like it's always the adults. I mean, sometimes it is, you know, children they are being killed. However, it's almost like you see it's the adults fighting. It's everything. But in this movie, you really see it's the kids. But I think Yosa's gonna jump into the summary for us.
Yeah, for sure. And just so there's the main character. Her name is Starr. And, like, one of the things in the movie is, like, thug life. And, like, the saying is the hate you give little infants F's everybody. Like, basically, like, it's a lesson that her dad's telling her. It's, like, the way they're treating, like, little kids, the way they start treating us because of the color of our skin, because of where we live, because of the way we talk, that screws over everybody for the rest of their life. And they're in this repeated cycle of poverty and being poor and all these other things that they can't get out of. But, like, the movie follows this girl named Starr. Her and her brother, Seven, right? Her brother, who's her half brother, they go to like this private school. They go to this school that's very far away because, again, they live in like the ghetto. They live like in a not very great area. So the school there, their mom doesn't want them going there. So they drive basically almost 40 minutes every single day to this other school. And so Star's kind of been almost like immersed into like white culture, as her and her brother and one other black guy are like the only black kids at school.
Black kids.
Yeah. And so she kind of struggles in this movie, kind of finding her place about being too black or fitting in, or how she has to act around white people. And so like there's a beginning scene in the movie where she's driving with one of her childhood friends, Khalil. They're coming from a party, which is probably like, it's like one of the first parties she's been to that's like an all black party. And so they're leaving, and Khalil gets pulled over, and he's kind of talking back to the police officer, and the police officer is like, all right, like get out, like we're not doing this. And so Khalil like comes back to talk to Starr through his window, and he reaches for his brush, for his comb, and the cop that sees him assumes he's reaching for a gun. I'm saying that with air quotes, but like the cop shoots him, seeing that he's like reaching into his car. The cop shoots him, and then Khalil dies. And so basically this gets broadcast on the news, as we've seen things as George Floyd and other people that have had similar events. Is it gets broadcast, and of course a police officer is under investigation, but there are people saying that the police officer is not at fault, that he couldn't have known, he was reaching inside his car for something. And other people are saying, well, it's because he's a black kid, and if it was a white kid, there wouldn't have been the same experience. We kind of see Starr go through the difficulties of managing her life, but also managing racial injustice, and that coming from inside of your own circle, from friends, from people you trusted, and how
family even.
Yeah, how the people that you see around you don't always like necessarily support you. They can love you, they can cherish you, but that doesn't mean they're going to stand by you if they don't think something's injustice. Because at the end of the day, her friends, they didn't understand what it was like to be a black kid in society, and they didn't know. And for that, instead of her friends to accept that, some of them retaliate against that. So.
Or try even to like try and understand.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think this is a really like I think I don't know, like turning point in like as you're getting older. I honestly recommend all kids that are like, middle school, high school, that, can understand things, obviously. Not that elementary kids can't understand things, but understand like the social aspect of like life, to read this book or to watch this movie, because bless you, because it's so real, it's so true. And there's so many in society nowadays that are trying to diminish the black experience, diminish what is happening, the racial and social injustices that are happening in America and all over the world. But the reality is that you can't hide the evil, you can't hide what these prejudices and everything. And so I think that one thing I really love about this movie is it showed this journey of Starr from like silence or unknown, or like not even knowing that these kind of problems are happening, because she lived in, as Yosa was saying, the ghetto. However, she was still like really protected by her family. Like her parents made sure that her and her brother go to another school. Like her parents were like, you're getting out of here. Like you're not going to be like us. And so like, you see that is like what they're like, she's been almost sheltered. And then this like experience with her like childhood friend and everything, and seeing like such evil and racism and like people and her closest friends like turning on her, and she realizes, my silence and my ignorance is not okay. My silence and ignorance is hurting people, or it's hurting me even, or it could hurt me in the future. And she realized that she has one thing that, for many, many years that people in power have tried to do, is they've tried to silence the power of your voice. That is one thing in all of humanity that has never been able to be taken away, and that is the power of a voice. Because they know when you speak, and when you speak words, and when you speak truth, that will reach the inner part of people. And I love that Starr noticed that, like, I have a powerful voice. I can talk about my experiences. I can talk about the injustices I've seen. I can stand up to my friends, and I can distance myself from friends that are not going to stand by my side, that aren't my day one. We've talked in some episodes about you need to be surrounded by people that will be your ride and die. And she noticed that she didn't have those kind of friends. And so I love that, because to me it shows that, especially in like everything that's happening in the world this year and, the past few years, like I've had to kind of reflect on like my own friendships and my own ideas of people and the way I interact with people. And sometimes, there's voices that are like, well, it's okay, accept it. Oh, because you think this way or you vote this way, it doesn't mean anything. But in reality, it does. And I think that all our voices have power, and we shouldn't allow, the people that are in power to silence the power of our voices.
Exactly. We shouldn't. I agree with everything you said. I don't think there's much more to be said, but just thinking about the way the story grew, how Starr went from someone, not that she was passive, but it was almost like someone that was willing to change who she was, kind of fit into the mold of who people thought she was meant to be. And I think one of my favorite parts of the book and the movies when she decides to basically speak out as like a witness against what the cop did. And she basically uses her voice, and her parents are like, we've like never been so proud of you. This is amazing. You're standing up not just for yourself, not just for Khalil, but for all the people that will ever be in a situation, the people that look like us, the people that will be treated like us, because you should never be silenced just because you're scared of what others may think of you. And it
Exactly.
was like her voice or her face is like blurred out and her name wasn't shown, but like still, just the fact that she was willing to speak up
I
was
mean,
just
any
amazing.
bad person can easily find that. It doesn't matter how much they try and hide that. So,
exactly.
very brave of her.
And I just, the thing I love about the movie is like I love her boyfriend Chris. Like I love Chris. KJ Appa. That's who it is in the movie.
Yeah.
Did
Oh,
you
I
know
forgot
that?
about his name. I used to follow him on Instagram.
He had to dye his hair like
black. Yeah.
But he's not a natural redhead.
But was it because of Riverdale that his hair was always red?
Yeah, like his hair is red.
I think his hair is brown.
He has brown hair.
He has brown hair.
But he had to dye red for Riverdale, and it was black in the Hate You Give. And I'm like,
his hair is
give
dying.
this guy a break.
Oh my gosh, no, I loved him in Riverdale. Like,
yeah, so he's a good actor too.
Is.
But I love the character that Chris is, the symbolism in her life, because we see in one of the scenes her dad meets this Chris guy, because like he's the only one that doesn't know that she's in Chris, and Chris is white, so because she goes to basically an all white school, but like Chris is white, and so the dad meets this boyfriend, and the dad's kind of like, why are you dating a white boy? Like
the mom is like trying to play damage control, and she's like, mm-mm.
She's like, oh, Chris, sweetie, how are you? And then, like, the dad tries to, like, tip Chris because he thinks he's, like, the driver, the bus boy, the driver boy. And Starr goes, like, no, this is my boyfriend. The dad goes, like, what? that seems
he's
really
so
funny.
mad because everyone in his household knows about
except
this.
him.
Except him.
She's like, that's kind of a betrayal, but like they knew how he would react. But like, I love the thing about the movie. It's like even though they're in an interracial relationship, because people have said a lot about interracial relationships, no matter the race. But I love that he isn't someone in the movie that gets mad about her relationship with Khalil. That she speaks up for Black rights. That she has these opinions and she has the way she thinks. In fact, Chris is probably one of the most supportive people in the movie. We see in the movie that he's upset that she didn't tell him that it was her that like spoke on like the show or whatever about Khalil dying, and he's upset that he didn't tell her what happened, because he's like, I'm on your side, like I'm with you, like I care about you.
That's so cute.
Like I love him, absolute king. And I love that like he respects who she is as a person, and I think that relationship shows that like also it didn't matter whether her boyfriend was Black or white or Hispanic or Asian, whatever it was, it didn't matter. It's like it's who he was on the inside.
Yeah.
And eventually the dad comes to accept that too, but it's like the relationships, like I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter who you date, what they look like, how they sound, whatever it is, that doesn't matter. It's who they are on the inside, how they treat you and how you feel about them. And I think that's an important thing that Starr and even her mom like have to let the dad come to realize that like Chris isn't going to treat me any differently, or a relationship isn't any different because he's white and because I'm Black. We love each other, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I love that Chris came into this relationship with a place of understanding, and I love that it's not. I mean, as a Black person, obviously there's more like nuances that you have to understand and everything. However, just because of the color of your skin doesn't make you one way or another. Like a huge part was that her uncle was a police officer, was wealthy. Like he, his nieces and nephews are basically living like in the hood, in the ghetto, like where it's very dangerous. Shots are always being fired, but he lives in a nice suburban gated neighborhood. Yeah. Like there's this stark difference. Her uncle was even like, I don't know if you should do this. Like, even me as a Black man, if I saw that, I would also like reach for my gun. Like it's not race. It's I think like what you were saying, it's on the inside. Do you understand that this is more than just like politics or your profession or anything? It's like, this is your morals. What do you believe? Do you believe people are human beings? Do you believe that justice needs to be served for everyone? Yeah. No matter what race, what gender, what nationality you are? And I love that this movie is showing that like it doesn't matter what race you are, because there's good and bad on all races. All people, like it has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with maybe you're raising, like how you were raised, how you think, and how you care about other people, and are you willing to learn? Because I think that
Exactly.
was the most important thing. Are you willing to learn? Chris
Yeah.
didn't know everything, but he was willing to learn. Her best friend, Haley, right?
Yeah.
Haley wasn't able to learn, and that
Or accept
or
who she
accept.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I think kind of going into that point, just like judging by appearances and like the way things may seem, because like I said before, it may have seemed like Khalil was reaching for a gun or whatever it was, a taser, but it's like even if like how could you not make sure first?
Yeah.
Because in at least in the movie, maybe not the book, at least in the movie, Khalil's like leaning over into the window. His like head is in the window. He leans over into the car. The cop is at least 10 feet away from him. So the cop can only see his body. The cop is only seeing him reach for something. So you can't even wait to check out. Like, you have a bulletproof vest. You have protection. Now
You have training. Like, you were going to be faster with a gun if it really is a gun.
Yeah.
To be able to do what you need to do to
like
protect
when
yourself.
you want to make sure before you just like
it's also a
someone.
kid. Like, and there's lack of remorse. And like, you know, what is this is I don't this isn't like based on real life. Like, I don't think Khalil is a real person.
No.
But I think the experiences were real. And it's
based off I don't know if it's based off I think it's based off a true like story of events.
Yeah.
But like the kid, I don't think his name is Khalil.
No, I don't think so either. But it's like, why there's almost a lack of like taking ownership and responsibility for your actions. It's almost a lack of like, because they're a certain race, I could care less what happens to them. And that's so sad. And something that has really been on my mind recently as things are coming out about just so many social injustices happening in the US and all over the world is that like people, it's almost this over time, like there's in this type of way that people try and refer to talking about race. You know, it used to be like, you know, like when there was Jim Crow laws, right, in America, it was like, well, they're not our slaves anymore. We're just we're equal, but we're separated. That was their way of saying
but equal.
Yeah, that was their way of not being racist. I'm saying this in air quotations. And you know, after Jim Crow laws left, it was almost like, okay, well, we're better. We're a better people. We're equal. Everything is equal. So let's stop talking about race. Like, it's already over. Like, slavery was all these years ago. Like, Jim Crow was years ago. Like, enough. Let's stop talking about race.
Yeah.
Which is almost, it's just as bad. Because what is one thing that is so, like, is a quote that I'm not gonna say it exactly how it is, but if you forget history, if you don't talk about history, it is bound to be repeated. And I think that there's just this cycle of like, you know, like racism is over. People aren't racist anymore. It's all good. America's beautiful. It's perfect. And it's almost like you can't, a lot of people now think that because you are critical of evil that is happening in your country means that you are any less patriotic, means you don't love your country, means that you have a problem with your country. But I think that some of the most patriotic thing to do is to call out the injustices, to call out the racism, 100%. The sexism, all of these social issues that we see in this country and in the world, just to make the country you live in better for everyone. And I love that she was trying to do that. I think that something that we're not very good at in our family is like going to protests and everything. It's just not something that...
It's not really big around here-ish, where we, like, live.
Well, I mean, we don't live in the city. That's the thing.
Yeah, so I'm sure, like, if we lived in, like, Houston, like, that would be, like, maybe.
Yeah. But I think that there's other ways, I mean, of course,
to speak up.
And to speak up. And so, yeah, I think that it was really interesting to see how this death could rally people together. And unfortunately sometimes it is like the death and the sadness of bad things that can sometimes drive action, but I think that never forgetting our voices is so important.
Yeah, I just think kind of, it's like you're saying, it's crazy that the media and social media and all these other news people will try and like twist the story
Yes.
to be something negative. It's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better in like they're reporting what's happening. Like if a police officer does this, it's going over the news. This is the truth. But at least for The Hate U Give, the movie and the book, we see that like the officer, what's his name, like Officer Brown.
That's
I don't know.
the officer. We'll just
The officer guy, like he comes with his dad and his family, and they're talking about, oh, he's just such a great kid, and he went to this college, and he did this, and he made a mistake, like he still has his whole life ahead of him, and that's fine if you want to call it a mistake, whatever you want to call it.
Fine.
But don't try and push that aside. Don't try and push away the fact that you killed someone, that you killed a child, that somebody's dead from your actions, and you're trying to basically like find a way around it. You're trying to like find a way for people to sympathize with you so you can win the case, so you can, be free after you literally killed someone. And fun fact, the guy that plays the officer is like the Rafe Cameron guy from Outer Banks.
Oh, interesting.
His hair looks so bad. Like it's like that side like swoop part, and it's like I'm like, yikes.
I do not watch Outer Banks, so I don't know, bro.
But I think like that. I just like want people to understand that it's like the media is always gonna twist things.
Yes.
Both sides, left, right, whatever party, whatever social media you follow. They're always going to twist things because things are always biased. That's how it works. I doubt there are no unbiased opinions.
Because humans are not unbiased, right?
Exactly.
But I think there's obviously there's obviously your audience, right? And I think that news platforms cater towards that. And there are news places that some, people decide that they don't want to believe, and I don't understand, but there's some really reputable sites that do report the truth. I mean, obviously they're still humans and it's still a bit of biasy. However, if they see bombing happening in Ukraine, they're going to report it as bombing happening in Ukraine. If they see bombing happening to Palestinian children, they're going to show that as what is happening. If they see ICE raids, there's just so many things that a camera and anyone with a brain can see it's a problem, but it is the biases of the reporters that start to change the messaging. But exactly. I think that's something that I've noticed that with TikTok, one of the reasons they're trying to get rid of it is because you can't hide the video. It's
unfiltered. It's just... You
can't hide the video.
It just goes out.
Why do you think that we've suddenly in the past 10 years have started to know about the kind of things that happened to Khalil? Black officers shooting... not black officers shooting black people out of for no reason. And it was because of the camera. If you're listening to this, I'm holding up my phone. Because of the camera, we are able to see the most unbiased thing because it's just it's literally what it is. And no words.
We should just all try to understand. Obviously it's going to be hard to learn things unbiasedly because like we said before, everything's biased, but kind of just Khalil's story, just not being quick to judge or quick to think the whole story of what happened. Maybe even if he was reaching for a gun, you're supposed to arrest someone until they're actually pointed towards you, trying to actively shoot you. And I think he could have shot him in a non-fatal area of his body. I think there were many alternatives, and that was part of the problem. And part of the problem that we're having today with officers that do shoot people who they think has a weapon or whatever it may be is that you just have to make sure, because it's just that's a life.
If you're so jittery like that, if you're I understand, here's the thing, we're talking about this and we still respect police officers. There is still a place for them. There are criminals. There are truly bad guys, and I don't want to be near them. I need the police. I need the police
to enforce the law.
Enforce the law. However, I also understand that,
there is injustice.
There are injustices, and if you are not in a position to think clearly and not be immediately afraid of something or someone, then I don't think being a police officer is the right profession for you, because these are people's lives. And this country is built on the justice system. So even if they are a serial killer, even if they've killed 20 people, they still have due process. They still have to be sat in front of their peers and be judged by the law. And so I think that it's almost like policing has turned into less of let's police and let's, facilitate a situation and bring them into prison or bring them away from a situation, and more of like shoot first, ask questions later.
Exactly.
And I think, like, obviously there's nuances and there's so many different cases. However, the number of Black individuals that have seen such injustices from the police is, in my opinion, too much. Even if it's just one is too much for anything.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it just kind of just going off of that, I think an interesting thing we see in the movie is they do live, I don't even remember what the neighborhood's called. I'm just going to call it the ghetto. They lived in the ghetto.
Bro, watch us get roasted on the comments for saying that.
I have no idea. I mean, that's what she calls in the book.
Yeah, this is book word.
This is book accurate. But like, they lived in a rundown part of the city. And in this part, and we see that like the mom is like a nurse, so she has kind of a career, but she's never been able to kind of take her family out of like this like world they're living in because they haven't had enough money. The dad is an ex-con who got out of prison, so he's basically had to restart his life because he took the fall for this king guy that's like the drug lord in their city. And so there's so many parts to that story. But one thing I love about the story, I love her mom and I love her dad and the example that he is, because the dad he's probably one of the best characters. He never forces her to speak up about the Khalil thing. He never gets mad about all the other things that happen. For the most part, he keeps a cool head, because there's even a scene in the movie where the police like come up to him, and it's like a Black police officer, and they basically like arrest him, and they like read his name tag. They're like, oh, we remember you. Like we've arrested you before because there's like a fire or something happened. And even in that moment, he stays calm because yes, he's like, I'm my example to my kids. I have to my children that this is wrong, but I can still be a man. I can still be strong in this moment, because me not saying anything, me not fighting back, that's stronger than any fighting or trying to get out of what the police are doing. And I think like Starr's dad is just such an example of how injustice can be fought and how it can be handled. And I love the example he plays to Starr. Is he's basically telling her like, you don't have to do everything that I do. You don't have to be what me and your mom want, but I still want you to never forget where you came from. Thug life. Like, the hate you give little infants screws over everybody. And he's like, I want people to understand that. I want us to grow as a society, because he recognizes that like people like him, Black people have a lot to do as well, but it doesn't help when people can't see us for more than our skin color.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important lesson that he teaches, and that the book and the movie teaches overall.
Yeah, I love that. I think that one of the reasons that America, in my opinion, is so great is that it's a land of diversity. And I think that too many are trying to move away from that diversity. They don't want the diversity. I don't know why. Yeah. But the reason we're so great is that we have, like, not one culture is perfect. Not one culture has all the right answers. But when you are all together and come together and you exchange ideas and answers and cultures, that only magnifies each other. And I think, even look at the world today. Like, if you look at technology, right? Let's take the iPhone, for example, and let's take, like, Samsung. Like, you do know that they're, like, bouncing, they take ideas from each other. Yeah. Like, everyone is, we call it stealing, which I guess technically it is, but everyone's stealing ideas from each other and, like, using others' ideas to make their own phones better.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because they see that one brand has a better idea or better way of adding this gizmo or something like that. And they take that and incorporate it and make their phone better. And so that is what they do on a, like, a product or technological aspect. But as people, it's the same thing. And I think that I
100%.
love that Starr's dad showed that we shouldn't forget where we are from, because the minute you start forgetting where you're from is when you start being you're not yourself. And I think that her uncle's a great example of someone who forgot where he came from, forgot like who the color of his skin is, because I've seen so many times where it's like a black person that is, and I'm not saying that they forgot where they're from, but it's like a black person is driving their car and maybe they have a position of power, maybe they're a judge, maybe they're FBI, like they're literally like above the police officer in terms of position in career, and they still face injustices because of the color of their skin. I mean, of course, the police officer that does arrest them gets in a lot of trouble because you can't mess with the judge. But I mean, that is just like, it's unfortunate that we're still in this world where this construct of race, which is a human construct, it's not real, is still prevalent. But I think that if we all remember where we're from, if we remember that diversity only makes things better, and if we remember the power of our voices, I think that this world will truly, and this country, I mean, I don't want to speak for the world because I've never lived in another country, but America at least will be a better country and will just continue to progress.
100%. And I think that's the whole point of The Hate U Give. That's the whole point of the story, is to see people for more than just what they may look like on the outside.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the color of their skin. It doesn't matter, like I was saying before, how they look, how they talk, or even sometimes how they act, because you don't know where people come from. You don't know the things they suffered. You haven't walked a mile in their shoes to know what they have gone through. You cannot judge people because you think you know their story, or you think you know where they come from, or you think you know where they belong. You just can't. None of us can. And so I think I love The Hate U Give. I read the book, read the movie. Important story, important lesson about injustice and how this world should really work. How we should strive to not perfection, but we should strive to all be better and to all treat each other like equals. And we know that's probably going to take a long time.
I think that we're both religious and Christian, so I think that when Jesus comes, that's when the social injustices are going to be gone, because it's just, there's so much evil in the world and I don't foresee it going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I know. I have faith in humanity. I have faith in people, but I think no one's going to be perfect, but we can all try every single day. That goes Absolutely. For us too. I mean, there's things that I'm sure I judge people over. For whatever. And so just love that story. We hope you guys kind of took something from it. I mean, I know we're a little bit biased. We are Black, so like, I don't know if bias is the right word, but I do feel a certain way about the movie and the book. I do feel connected to it in a way, but I think that's kind of all we have for today. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy talking about this book. I love what it represents. I love the story. I love how it represents reality in a way. So if any of you guys have any comments to leave, please do. We love to hear you guys' kind of opinions on what we talked about. If you've watched the movie, make sure to give this video a like. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And because we post twice a day, make sure you like and comment on all our videos, and make sure you turn on push notifications. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys next week.
Okay. Bye.